Okay. Hi. My name is Stefanos Domatiotis. I show you my techniques. I show you my opinion, and you have to decide if it's good or not. So, how many is barista here into the class? You are barista? Ah, okay, great. So, the most important is the consumer. So today I'm talking about the techniques and about the things that you do and how you prepare your recipe and how to explain to the consumer your recipe. I have to learn about the farm and the location. Maybe this farm has something special, or it has very super picker, or is do education inside of the farm, or all this, or maybe this farm has the volcanic soil, or maybe it's been close to the volcano, or it has a rivers. All this effect in the taste. So if I know that, it's explained more, and I feel more better to explain in the consumer about the coffee. But it's very important when you start to preparing coffee and you take the information, you go to the map and you see where is this country. What's happening in this country? It's how many population has, how many mountains, or how there it is the market, how is the trade. Because like that, you understand many, many reasons if the coffee is good or if his coffee is bad. I know it has the two processing. So if I have a natural process for Ethiopia, for example, I expect to find blackberries, chocolate, heavy body. In the wash process, I expect to find lemongrass, floral, juicy body, very pleasant aftertaste. So all this information for the countries, that it is the standards, is no the rules, because the processing and the farming, the farmers, and all this processing in the coffee is progress very fast, faster for us, and is do really good job. But if I know the basic and the people and the most of the barista is forget the basic. He's going to be very, very science and teacher, professional, and that is the problem. You know, is the most of the barista and the most of the champions is not make coffee anymore, and that's the problem. And the next is the variety. The different variety is give us the characteristic how to prepare the coffee. Some varieties has a less acidity, another has a more acidity. Some varieties has a more body, another varieties has a less body, like a tea-like and very, watery. So the variety, it is very important, and the people is, the lot of people and the consumer is try to understand like a wine. The most barista is complain about the roasters, always. But you don't see the problem of the self. The barista is the more easy for us, like barista, to complain. Complain about the roasting, about the very dark roast, the coffee is not good, is no good crop. But the most of the barista, like technical, is do mistakes all the time. So the first of all, I have to communicate with the roaster. I have to know the roaster, yes, and try to make the cup profile with simple things. For me, for example. This is something very, very normal for all of us, okay? It's very normal, okay? Go there, see the color of the roasting, find nice words and very simple words, because you are Korean, I am Greek. I am not speaking so good English like Americans and like English guys. Because if you see one barista inside in these bars, he's talking like, oh, wow, you know, because it is the normal, you know, language. And it's very easy to give nice words, you know, to give the profile more fancy. But for me, because I try to communicate and I try to work everywhere, and I try to work here in Korea, for example, and I have the same consumers with the same, maybe it has a different mentality and different taste palette, but the general, it's the same. So give simple cup profiles and give more attentions where it's come from the coffee. What kind, try you educate the consumer. The most of the baristas try to be king and is try to, you know, to explain so complicated. In the specialty market, it's talking about the traceability, about the information, about all this stuff. But you know what? Okay, you taste one coffee, and most of people, you have experience in the cupping, right? Okay, when you cup something, and you find caramel, for example, you're thinking never, okay, why is this coffee taste caramel? What kind of variety it is? How is roast? Or when is roast? Or where it's come from? Nobody. You know why? Because the most of the barista, I do this that I do before. Never I ask myself why. You have to ask yourself why. Why you used paper filter or metal filter. Try to understand why. Why you used coffee from Ethiopia and why you used coffee from Costa Rica or from India or from... You have to explain why you do that. And you have to write it down. And you have to go back in the basics. Because the most of people is talking about the modular and all this. I don't need that. The consumer don't care about the numbers and the TDS. You know? And I have the experience about this. I've been in the Germany 2 months ago, and I do event. And I'm preparing coffees. You know, all the coffee gigs is come to ask me, okay, it's nice geisha, and it's yes, and that the consumer don't understand it. He say to me, I have the greatest experience in my life. He's not asking me why is this coffee so expensive or why it's come, nothing. Say to me, it's my best experience. The coffee gigs is asking me so much. So think simple and think why. Try to understand for your personal experience and transfer to the consumer. What is the difference you taste the coffee in the ceramic cup, in the paper cup? And explain how to taste. It is very important. As you know, the espresso is very boring for me. You know why? Because I take the first opinion and I take the first 2 sips. Okay, I check, I evaluate the crema. Okay, I see the crema, and after I tasting. But it's finished very fast. And the first opinion, it is the cup profile. You know, but the filter coffee, and that is the difference of filter coffee, is changed. So explain to the consumer, smell it, and you find this. When the temperature is going down, it's changed the taste. Explain with simple things, and for that is the filter coffee. It is amazing because it's connected with the cupping, and you have is more easy for the consumers, and it has more time to understand all your directions and all the profiles. For me, you know, all the beverages has the different character. All the beverages. And all the beverages has the different culture. It's amazing how the filter coffee is the totally pleasure, because you have the coffee longer time, so you have more connection, and it's very important to understand all this before to start to make the recipe. Where it's come from, all this about the processing and the variety that I tell you, and of course the water. The water is the most important thing when I'm brewing coffee. But I have to explain why and how to use the water. The most of people is thinking when is listening water is the less TDS, more clean water is better. That is not true. And I explain later when I brewing coffee and you see the difference TDS, how it's effect in the aroma. The wet aroma is totally comes from TDS. Okay, so I need these basic things. That is not mine. That's from SCAE. It is the standard of the water. And if you see the TDS and the important, okay, I need to have a clean, fresh, of course, water without any color, okay? And I need chlorine 0, of course, and I need TDS between 150 to 250 for me. The target is been 150, if you see there. You know why I say 150? And I need, and the most barista is do it less for 150. You know why this happened this? So the people is thinking when you have a less TDS, the water is more clean. So is do it this mistake the most of the barista that I know. 150 with 180, it is the best TDS if you want to make coffee. And try your experiments. Me, I say that is my opinion, but I do it, and I do experiments about this. Try to make coffee with 150 and 180, and you see the difference in the aroma is crazy. It's two totally different things. And as you remember, in the flavor, the aroma with combination for 5 cents, it's the total flavor, okay? So I need the aromas. So if you need aromas inside to the cup, you need TDS between 150 to 180. If you have a less TDS, maybe you have more clean taste, but you don't have any aroma. And without aroma, I don't have a flavor. And the total alkalinity, it's effect in the acidity, and of course pH. pH, it is the most important. And most of the baristas and the most coffee shop is serve a sparkling water before coffee. That is the joke. It's joke. But most of the baristas is doing that because it's high. You know, if you drink sparkling water and after your pH in your mouth has been 5 or 6. So never serve like a barista coffee with sparkling water. It's two totally different things, okay, in the market. And it's very important when I'm preparing that and I have these numbers in the water is the density. The density, it is the weight of the water. So if I have a high temperature or low temperature, it's changed the weight of the water. So if you change the weight of the water, you change the time of brewing. In the hand brew, I mean about the brewing techniques. So the temperature is help for 2 reasons inside to the brewing techniques. The one it is the time, and another is the moves, but I explain later. But it's the more important in the temperature of the water into the brew, in the hand brew, it is the weight. Okay, and that is change the total brewing time. I believe, for my personal experience, the less total brewing, the less time, the faster extraction, you have sweeter coffee. Okay, because you have a less caffeine. And if you have a less caffeine, you have more sugars and less bitterness. So for me, the good time for brewing has been between 2 minutes and 3 minutes. No less and no more for 3 minutes. More for 3 minutes, it's a joke. The most of people is thinking and connect with the cupping. The cupping protocol, it is the difference of the protocol of brewing techniques. And in the brewing techniques, it's so open because nobody talking about the temperature of the water. Is nobody talk about grams. You say, okay, 6 per 100, but it don't give another results. It don't give another numbers. Yes. So I have to know the temperature of the water, and I know the temperature of the water is give kinetics. You see many barista is do it when it's pouring like a.
대부분 바리스타 분들은 이제 한 분은 막 이렇게 원을 돌리면서 물을 붓고 있죠, 필터에.
It's joke.
농담합니까?
Really, because
그건
what
아니죠.
I looking for? I looking for balance.
여러분께서 밸런스를 보셔야 됩니다.
Yes, of course, each cup of coffee has a different character, and that is amazing. But I looking for balance. I don't understand the barista is trying to explain, okay, I'm moving with cycle moves and I do it 3 times, but that does not exist. Because when I have a temperature, okay, I have kinetics modular. Inside is the kinetics. The water and the coffee is going like that, like espresso. Okay? Why the coffee machine of espresso is pour the water in the center and the barista has to do that? It's a joke, you know? It's very simple. It's really simple. And of course, it's the mistake is the one is the barista and another is the company to prepare this brew device. It's do a lot of mistakes. Because it not make sense you buy one hand brew coffee device for 20 cups. You know, for 6 cups. It's not make sense. Yes, you see the barista, okay? So you're thinking, I have the temperature and I need the best coffee, and I try to do like that. I change 10 temperature before to finish. Oh. So if you pour water, anyway, the water is do it moves. And when I prepare now the next seconds, I explain how I am thinking about the brewing. Because I come from the barista background, so I've been focused very much in the espresso, like a brew extraction, and always I am excited about the filter coffee and what's happened there. I try to understand and connect things, and if you say so similar, why, for example, you in the espresso you don't make 6 cups of espresso together and you make only 2 or 1? And why you have brew device in the filter to preparing 3 cups? 3 cups of coffee, it is too much for filter coffee. It's better you use machine, okay? Because it's 1 liter, okay? So, for me, you have to choose the brew device. And you have to know the materials. For example, if you have a coffee grinder, you have to know only the technical characteristic just for the grinder. You have to know about the knife. A lot of the barista is talking and say, okay, you have a flat knife or conical knife. What is the difference? Believe me, no difference. It's another myth. You know, a lot of the companies, because he's going to sell one product, he say, take conical, it's better. There is okay, understand. It is very important, the knife. And it's very important to be big one. But is no effect to the cup profile. Come on. Yes, you have to choose your grinder and you have to give your opinions. It's the only important of the grinders. It is the materials of the knife, of course. It is important because if it has metal, for example, of course, the knife is not very good because it's the metal. So it's very important to know the materials, but it's not so big deal if I have a conical or a flat. And for me, for example, for my new barista and for shop, because I want to clean every day the knife, I prefer flat because it's more easy clean. It's more easy to clean. And that for me is the more important. In the grinder, if you clean your grinder every day and every night you clean your knife, believe me, you don't have any problem. And it's the most important for the knife, and you see the numbers, it is the surface. The surface is very important. It's the biggest surface in the flat is give better results. But only that it is the difference between the knife. Yes, you have to, you have to know about the surface and the quality, but it's not too much big deal, Okay, I mean, it is very important, the grinder, but it's more important to focus in the cup of the coffee, okay? And it's not complain. The most of baristas complain for grinders and for all this. If you use the flat one, try to take the best flat one. Some materials is good, some another is not good. That is your choice. But everything you choose, or conical or flat, is good. But you have to give the explanation why. Always you have to give why I am using this, or why I am doing that. And you find the results, believe me.